I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Acushnet Board of Health on Tuesday, December 29th at 5:07. Whatever clock is accurate, I don't know. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
Motion to open the hearing. Open the
Roll
meeting.
call vote. Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Maderas,
Bob Maderas, yes.
and I'm a yes. That's unanimous. We're now open. This meeting is being video and audio taped. Is anybody else recording the meeting that's listening? Okay, so we'll move on to the agenda. First item on the discussion items, tobacco sale regulations. These are new regulations, a lot of reading, guys, for all of us. I don't believe, if nobody's here from the general public, what I'd like to do is put this first on the next agenda so that we all have a chance to read it. I want to hear from the general public, particularly the store owners who are impacted by some of this literature. Some of it's recommended, some of it's, I guess, already state law. Joe sent us a good write-up with the yellow highlights, changes in the state regs, and then there are some green or blue highlights that show suggested, green, I guess, suggested, such as other towns have done, which we can or don't have to do. But I personally would like to hear from anybody impacted, such as specifically store owners, on anything in green. And I did have a conversation with one store owner today. He called me about this. He said he could not make this evening's meeting. He said there are other members, other people, store owners that would be interested. I told him that I'd like to hear their feedback and that I would just table all discussion so that we can digest it and they have a chance to digest it and we can have an open discussion at the next meeting. There's no rush to do anything here in paper from what I can tell. And I told that store owner that's how I wanted to handle it. So if you guys have anything to say about it for now, I'm looking to table the discussion on this until the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to table it so that we can review all of the facts that have been presented to us, because I haven't had time to do that. We just received everything. There's been so many things going on, that I think a little bit more important than that. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to table it to the next meeting.
Okay, Mr. Maderas, any comments?
No, not really. I didn't really look through everything on it. I glanced through it real quick. Basically, some of the regulations are basically what we had. But the thing is, I'm in favor of letting it go for the next meeting. That way people have a chance to read, and if they want to have any comments, or either one of us have a comment on it, bring it up at the time. Have somebody have some sense of knowing what's going on here. We'll give them another meeting, and if nobody shows up at the other meeting, we'll make our decision then.
My motion will stay.
Okay, so Mr. Fortin made a motion to continue the matter to the next meeting. Is there a second?
And I second it.
Okay, all in favor, roll call vote. Mr. Fortin?
Yes.
Ms. Maderas?
Bob Maderas, yes.
And I'm a yes. So unanimous decision to continue discussion to the next meeting. Our next item on the agenda is the budget for the next fiscal year. I don't know if the gentleman had a chance to look at it, but it's exactly the same as last year. Every number is the same. They said leave out raises for now. That'll be negotiated by the unions. And our health agents will fall in line with whatever's negotiated between the selectmen and the unions. So essentially it's exactly the same as last year. $185,850. So I guess do we need to approve this tonight, Joe? Or is there anything we should?
I would approve it as a preliminary budget. Yes.
Okay.
The administration over here has been trying to push this a little earlier and earlier every year so that they can kind of figure out where they stand. So this might come around again in the event that, there is something that comes up. We might have to talk about it, but
Sure.
preliminarily, yes.
So at this point, I'll just entertain a motion to send the budget along back to Finance Department, Town Administrator, as is, that as a preliminary budget, we voted to approve. If there's a motion,
I'll make that motion.
is there a second?
Second,
All in favor, roll call vote, Mr. Forden,
Yes,
Mr. Maderas,
Bob Darish, yes.
and I'm a yes, so that's a unanimous vote. Next on the item is a public hearing for septic plan approval, 45 Gammons Road. Jose and Joseph and Lucille Career. Any relation, Joe?
None whatsoever.
Okay, good to know. S&K Engineering. No conflict of interest here.
Ash, Joe, the same question.
Nope.
Represented by S&K Engineering. It's a septic repair. There are waivers requested, foundation to leaching field less than 20 feet. And for the well to leaching areas 100 to 88 feet and 100 to 69 feet to the abutters well, which is originally 62 feet away from the leaching field. I will turn it over to Mr. Silva.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, happy holidays, gentlemen. My name is Kevin Silva with S&K Engineering. I'm here on behalf of JLC Construction, representing Jose Correa and septic repair. The waivers that David had just mentioned, we are looking for approval. We had nowhere else on the lot to put the septic system. We tried to maximize the distance away from the abutters well as much as we could. Unfortunately, we have a foundation in our way. We couldn't get any closer to our own well to get further away from their well. So we're kind of restricted to that front yard. I designed the system above the water table, 4 feet with no waiver to the water table. We are using the town of Acushnet's new 2-compartment tank, as well as a pump chamber and an effluent filter, which is a lot more further treatment than what was existing for the past 20, 30 years. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to address them, and we can go from there.
Kevin, I just have one question, more of a curiosity question. Do you know the difference that we're elevating the leaching field, the bottom versus the existing leaching field?
I do not know the exact bottom of the existing leaching pit, but I would imagine that pit, looking on my screen right now, I know that the water level, when we shot it when we were in the field, was at elevation 90.4. And the top of the pit was at 94.1. And the bottom of my system here is, excuse me one second, I got multiple screens going here. The bottom of my system's at 95. So I would say that if it's a 6-foot pit, you'd be looking at elevation 88 roughly. Again, I didn't shoot the bottom of the pit because it did have septic water inside it at the time where we did our survey. But the level of that water at that time was 90.4, which is, like I said, about
below
five-
seasonal high groundwater. So what we have is a leaching pit that's in the water table below seasonal high groundwater. And we're now going to have a leaching field that's 4 feet above seasonal high groundwater.
correct.
Okay, I'm all set. Any questions, Mr. Fortin?
no, it just seems that the situation that you're going to get into with the new system is 100% better than what was existing. Is that correct?
I would say it's definitely better. I can't say it's 100% better. That's
Oh,
a push number, but yes, it's definitely a much better improvement
Right.
for everybody.
Listen.
I just asked. Ms.
Well, when they
just
did,
wanna I just had one question for Joe. Was there anything presented to the board from the neighbors
Yeah, a butter has spoken to me at the beginning of the project. And we discussed what basically was going on there and that it was going to be a much better situation. We had discussed having the well tested and that the applicant here would have the well tested. I know they've reached out to the abutter and had the conversation at this particular point in time, which is lot number four, not lot, but house number 48. They haven't allowed or haven't, allowed anybody onto the site to test the water. I know at the time the applicant even was going to have like analytical balance themselves go out and do the water test. So they weren't going to get the sample themselves. It was going to be actually analytical balance, but for some reason or the other, they wouldn't allow them to come and do that. And recently I received an email, I said recently, it was yesterday afternoon, stating that the abutter, even though she's been notified, we have all the certified mail. This has been going on for months now. Well, I say months, this has been going on for about 2 months. That she was not going to be able to be on the Zoom meeting, and she was talking about forwarding the information to her attorney on the email. Again, I spent quite a bit of time explaining to her that this was a much better situation and that, generally the requirement is just to have the water tested and that'll be a tell-all.
Is the attorney available this evening or they're not?
There was no indication if the attorney would be here or not. I don't know who is, looks like there's nobody here besides, who else is here? Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody else is here besides us.
I'm just a little concerned about it being referred to an attorney. I don't know how you gentlemen feel about it. Where she's handing everything over to an attorney. Does anybody have any sight on that? Dave?
Well, I wanted to hear what both of you had to say. Then I intended to go to the abutters if there was anybody there representing the abutters, or if they were there on the Zoom themselves. My understanding is they did not, feel comfortable going on to Zoom. At a minimum, I'll read into the record their email, and then we can take the dialogue from there. So at this moment, I'll go to Mr. Maderas, get his take on the plan, the presentation, and any comments or questions.
What's that, Dave?
I'm going to go to you. Do you have any questions or comments at this moment before I read into the record?
Well, I got a comment on that, David.
Yep, go ahead.
If the people, the buddies, neighbors, are not satisfied with the contractor or homeowners doing the test for this particular well, I would recommend that the contractor or the homeowners, the new ones, approach these people and say, look, you hire the person or engineering firm, whoever does the water sampling, you hire them, we'll pick up the tab. That way they don't think that, they're trying to bluff their way through or anything. I think that would be a common sense thing to do than having the engineering firm or the people there that own the property get an engineering firm to take the water sample. And I would personally, if that was me, I would go up to the people, look, you get somebody to do your water sampling, a certified person or firm, and I'll pick up the tab for it. And then how can they really say no if you're willing to do that for them, at their people that they would want to hire? I would think that would be the best bet. That's my opinion. For what it's worth, I think
Well,
that a common sense thing to do.
The only issue that I have is that they've already stated that they're, handing this over to their attorney. So there's nobody here to represent her or them or that homeowner. And I'm just concerned where they're stating that they're going to be handing over all of that information to an attorney. and we haven't given them the opportunity to give us the feedback. So I'm quite concerned about that. I know that Joe went above and beyond to explain to those people that, that this is a better situation for them compared to what they've had over the last 30 years. But I'm just, if they're handing stuff over to an attorney, I would be really skeptical about making any decisions on that plan this evening.
Well, the thing is, Tom, that I don't think we have any written information that I can say, well, I'm going to turn it over to my attorney and nothing happens, and
Well, that
maybe
was
just a
the
bluff
whole-
call. I don't know. Do we have any documents, Joe, about those people having their attorneys? Is it a written document that they have an
Stated.
attorney?
Joe just mentioned that.
I'll read it into the record, Bob.
Okay.
This was an email sent to Joe, looking for a date on it. The way I printed it out, let me see, it's December 28th. To the Board of Health. Hi, Mr. Career. I spoke with you on Monday, November 30th, 2020, in regards to the notification I received of the proximity of the new proposed septic system of 45 Gammons Road to my well at 48 Gammons Road. On this day, concerns and questions were discussed along with potentially scheduling a water test for my well. However, I mentioned the need to relay our conversation to my husband before anything was scheduled. Before I had the opportunity to decide whether we wanted to proceed with having our water tested, the construction company handling this project was already contacting me to schedule this. I had originally discussed not feeling comfortable with signing a waiver for this project. This project as projected is not up to code, and for the potential health and financial risk that this may cause my family and I gives us reason to not sign the waiver. I am unable to attend the Zoom Board of Health meeting, and this is why I am emailing. After a lot of consideration and discussion on this matter, we feel it is best to address our concerns with an attorney since we are feeling pressured to participate in something we are not comfortable with. The complexity of the situation is unfortunate for all parties, but we understand that codes and laws have been created for our protection. I realize there is not a simple solution due to the lot size and proximity of our well, the residents of 45 Gammons Road, and I should have had this important information relayed to us prior to the sale of our home so we could have and be more informed of this matter. Thank you for your time and understanding. Sincerely, Sarah Nunes. So my first reaction is I assume maybe they'll watch this this meeting as it comes up on regular cable, channel 18. So first there's I guess a misconception that the applicant is not asking them to grant a waiver. Abutters do not grant waivers. It's the Board of Health that grants the waiver for the project to move forward. And they may have misunderstood that. We can't mandate that they have their well tested because they're an abutter and they're not asking us for anything. It was strongly suggested by the Board of Health agent that they have their well water tested and for the applicant to approach them to get their well water tested. So in the end, I feel like if they don't want it tested, there's nothing we can do about it. This is a septic upgrade for repairs. Title V allows a 50-foot setback as a minimum, and this is significantly greater than 50 feet. It can't meet the 100-foot setback because of the lot constraints. So there really isn't a lot to be done here. I agree with Mr. Fortin that, I mean, given COVID, given the fact that she says in the email she cannot make the meeting, I think we should just continue the hearing until 2 weeks from now. I suggest we meet 2 weeks from today at 5 o'clock again, and that would afford her, and then Joe can contact her tomorrow morning and tell her that, she has 2 weeks to have an attorney or another representative represent her at a continued public hearing, and we'll certainly hear any concerns regarding the matter. And if nobody appears at that meeting, then we can move forward with an approval. So that's my take as chairman. Anybody else have any input on that?
I would agree on that, and it gives them the extra 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it's holding up the other people with the project for the system, but I think it would be safe to allow them, to give them time, to conduct whatever they have to do with their attorney, as Dave said, and I stated before. So I'm willing to go along to make a motion to move that to the next, the timeline that you spoke with, Dave. 2 weeks. Give them 2 weeks to get back to us with their response, either with an attorney or personally, and we can make a decision on the plan then. That's my motion.
Well, I'll accept that motion. Is there a second to the motion? And then we can have further discussion.
Yep, Bob Maderis, yes.
Okay, is there any further discussion regarding we'll continue this to 2 weeks from today at 5 o'clock?
Correct.
So then it's a set date and time and
David, would that be better for 5:30?
my only concern, Bob, is that I have, if we have anything else on the agenda, I have other items that night. I have other meetings, multiple meetings that I have to attend. So I prefer to set it at 5 for my own personal, so that I don't have a conflict, later on.
Whatever. If I can make it, I'll make it. If I can't, I can't. I'm pretty busy. When I get out of my shop during the day, I'm kind of grubby. And I don't think
Well,
people
you're
want to
not-
see me looking for grease and dirt and everything
Yeah, but
else.
you're not, Bob, you're not in front of the audience, so you'll be all right. You can come in right after work. We don't mind. You could look grubby.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I
Bob,
did.
I just checked my calendar. Bob, I have a 6 o'clock Zoom meeting that I have to attend immediately after. So I'm just concerned if I did.
Okay,
a
no
little-
problem, Dave. I mean, if you have another
Okay.
commitment, you got to do what you have to do. That's your living,
Okay, I appreciate
No
that.
problem.
So there's a motion to continue and a seconded, roll call vote, Mr. Fortin,
I,
Mr. Maderis,
Bob Maderis, yes.
and I'm a yes. So we are continued to, let me make a date and time here. That would be January 12th at 5 PM. Thank you, Mr. Silva.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a nice new year.
Same to you. I don't see anything else on the agenda. Is there anything else from Pat or Joe?
Nope.
Nothing that's on the agenda.
Okay.
Right.
If you want to
just
do an
as a-
update on PJ Keating in the short version at the next meeting?
Yeah,
that's
you want to
possible.
get going?
if it's not on the agenda, he can't really do that.
No, we can't
next-
tonight, but I'm saying at
meeting.
the next meeting, as
Yeah.
long
Get
as
'em
it's, as long as it's streamlined, we have
10 words or less.
10 words. We got plenty to read on that anyway.
I
Okay,
did send out an email late this afternoon. Maybe some of you guys saw it. So,
I did. I'll take a look at that tonight.
I didn't,
Thank you.
haven't read it, but I did see it.
A lot more reading for you.
No,
The attachments.
I gotta look at it just like you did.
Being in the
Only
board,
thing I would,
never read so much in my entire life, going through high school and all. Too much reading here.
we're just getting started.
It's good
Yeah.
for you.
You're gonna need a Kindle.
Yeah.
I'm all set. Everybody
Is there a
good?
motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor? Of roll
Aye.
call vote, Mr. Fortin,
Aye.
Mr. Maderis.
Bob Maderis, yes.
I'm a yes. We are adjourned. You guys have a good New Year.
All right.
Everybody-